on ball speed. And if we can bring the camera around, I just want to show this. It's a lag putting drill. So here we've got about a 60-foot putt. Now, you can see this above the hole. I took a bandana, stretched it out, and used tees to anchor it to the ground. Now, I know that this putt breaks pretty sharply from right to left. You would probably be able to see it with your eyes, but you could certainly feel it by walking up there, that this side of the green is much higher than this one. So this one's breaking a lot. The reason I put that bandana up there is that sets my intention. My intent is to roll my ball with a speed that would, if it doesn't go in, will stop on that bandana. And if it happens to go in, great. But again, I'm trying to avoid a 3-putt. Now to that end, I know I'm going to have to make a stroke that's big enough to get the ball there. And that's really important. One of the worst things you can do with putting is, from any distance, but particularly long distance, is make a backstroke that's way too short to get the ball there. Because what we would then have to do is rush the second stroke, or the follow through. So if I take it back only this far to get it to that hole, I'm going to tend to whack at it. Now I could leave one 10 feet short or hit it 20 feet by. So you've got to trust that when you're sizing up this distance, that you already have a built-in mechanism. You already kind of know how much swing you need to give it to get it there, because you've been swinging your arms as you walk your whole life. There's a certain rhythm or cadence to it. In a past article, I did a feature on how putting is like a grandfather clock. And in it, I said that when you have a grandfather clock, wherever you place it in your home, you push the cabinet flush to the wall. Wouldn't make any sense to have it not flush and tilted. So our body, in this analogy, is that cabinet. So whatever distance I stand from the ball at address, I would want my body lines to be parallel to the target line. Now, that doesn't mean you couldn't stand askew. Jack Nicklaus stood like this. Doesn't mean you can't do that. But once you have that setup in place, you want to keep your body as quiet as you can and simply move your arms back and forth across your body with no twisting of your body at all. So in that way, it's like the lever arm inside of the grandfather clock case. It's just going tick, tock, right across the face. I'm not twisting my body. Okay, so now I'll hit a couple putts. As I make practice strokes, I'm looking at my intention and I'm trying to get a feel for how much stroke I'm going to give it to get there. Once I feel like I am ready, I'm just going to try to make a big but smooth stroke and have it come in on the high side. Okay, now I left that short, but from this distance, it's only about that far. So I would be happy with that. But for our purposes, for the drill, I want to hit this next one and really try to get it in there. Notice I also put a pin behind one of the flags behind it. I don't want to bash into that. That would mean the ball's going way too fast. So I'm going to just expand my stroke a little bit more and use that to get it that extra distance. I'm not going to speed up my stroke, in other words. Almost went in. So hopefully those tips will help you. And again, if you have any questions, you can always email me, bpk5367@yahoo.com. But for now, we will take a break and come back with Alessandra. Okay, so here with Alessandra, and we're just going to kind of go through those 4 skills. And the first one, as we just stated, was green reading, or the prediction. So let's say, Alessandra, that you have this putt. It's for eagle on a par 5, because you usually hit those in 2. I'm going to have you go through your normal reading process and tell me where you would aim your ball for this putt, and we'll verify with this.
Probably would aim it about this far to the left of the hole.
So tell me.
Alright, keep going. Right. Yeah, right about there.
Okay. So this is
About a
about
foot?
8 inches. Okay. Now, what we're going to do with this is I'm going to aim this at that point. Now, I might need to roll this a couple times just to make sure that I have the right speed. So only by using the right speed could we tell if that's the proper aim point. We'll give it a roll. We know that it's downhill and braking left to right based on standing here can feel this shoulder is higher than this, left is higher than right, so it's braking that way. We're just trying to determine how much. Perfect read. Done.
That was
No.
nerve-wracking.
Okay, so what this is the aim point. So that's a straight line. Even though we know this is going to break, when you make your read, you want to draw a line through the ball, even beyond the hole. That's your aim point. Now, that ball, though, it was rolled with perfect speed, so it's even though it started on that line, at some point along its journey, it started to curve away from the line, so it started to break this way. On that curve is an apex, the highest point on the curve, and that, let's just say that that was here, where the ball stopped going straight and started going to the right. Well, this point, if I project this, I'm going to drag this point out just to show you this, is well below the aim point. So the apex of the arc is not the same as the aim point. The reason that's important is most people will not play enough break for whatever reason. So that was a perfect read. We had perfect speed. So obviously you're a pretty good green reader. So next we will move to aim. And this now, since we know the break point, or the aim point, we'll have you see how well you aim. See if you can make that putt by aiming to the proper spot. Put this behind the hole. Smart ball speed would finish somewhere in between the back of the hole and here if it doesn't go in. Very good. Now, that's a perfect example of how smart ball speed is so critical. I think she aimed it well and hit it, pretty much started it on her aim point. It just carried too much speed. Otherwise, I think it might have gone in if it had stopped short of that chip that's behind the hole. Try that again. Perfect. The only difference between those two was the speed. Even though that went in, if it didn't go in, it probably would have finished half the distance past the hole that the first putt did. Very good.
Thanks.
So there was all four of the skills. She read it, she aimed it, she started it where she wanted to with good speed. Nothing else I can do at this point other than mess her up. Okay. Never up, never in. So that was actually a perfect demonstration. The ball that's moving too fast doesn't go in. The ball that's not moving fast enough doesn't go in. The one with perfect speed can go in on any side of the hole. All were read properly, all were aimed properly, all were started on the intended line. The variable was the speed. So working on your speed may be the most important skill you can develop. So just a little recap of that. Remember that putting is basically 4 skills. Each of these skills can be developed, refined. They're not super technical. Of course, you can get in, make things as technical as you want, but I would prefer you did not drill down too deeply. But remember that those 4 things are your initial read. I just want to say, try to trust your read. Usually your first read, your first instinct is correct. So if you're spending too much time over-analyzing, you end up being more confused than anything. So don't rush, but try to keep these processes moving along fairly quickly, because again, your initial instinct or read is probably closer to the truth and the actual one than if you spend too much time analyzing it. So we've got the read, then we've got the alignment or aim. Whether you set the ball down using the stripe on it or not, doesn't matter. Can you aim this tool, this line, in the right spot to start your ball on the intended line? One of my mentors in putting said, aim straight, shoot straight, aim straight, shoot straight. So that means wherever your read is, wherever you're aiming, your stroke just has to be good enough to start it on that line. And that's number 3, is your stroke mechanics. Whatever stroke you employ must start the ball consistently on the line you've chosen. And like I said, you can do that any number of ways with any number of techniques, from really pretty looking ones to unorthodox ones. Doesn't matter. Tour pros are all over the boards with grips and alignments and stroke mechanics, but they're freakishly consistent with how they deliver the putter. So once you've got those first 3, the 4th and final, which as we saw in the last demonstration with Alessandra, that may be the most critical one. I think it is, because without good ball speed, the ball has very little chance of going in. So you always want to hit the ball hard enough to get to or beyond the hole, because obviously if it's short, it won't go in. Now there are times when you can leave it short from long range, like she left a couple short, but they were really good from almost 60 feet If you're leaving it this far short and you have a second easy putt, great. Avoid 3 putts. Going beyond the hole gives us a better chance to go in, and it gives us a sense of how the ball might break coming back. But again, there, if it's too hard and it rolls 3, 4, 5, 6 feet past the hole, well, now we've got a lot of work to do to avoid that 3 putt. So those would be the 4 skills. Hopefully you picked up some ideas on how to develop them and work on them. And then I would leave you with this, that there's never been a putter alive, a great putter, who didn't first believe they were a great putter. So you must believe that you're a good putter to have any chance to become a good putter. Regardless of your ability to perform these 4 skills, if you think you're good at something, generally you are. So always try to be positive with your putting, no matter what the result. That's going to give you the best chance to get good results.